is up? What is up? What is up? And I might want the mic down here where y'all can see me. Nobody Hunter redeemed lurker check-in, but it didn't pop because I don't have Sammy going because I restarted my computer and I forgot to turn everything on. So lurker check-in. I think it's this one. Yes. Yep. That's lurker chicken. Alrighty. So we are doing something different. As you can see,
Here we are in the future.
There they are. That it is.
Here we are in the future, and it's bright. Nothing to fear, no one to fight.
But yes, we are testing some things. I'm curious. Test.
All things are arranged according to their degrees of beauty and excellence, and that the nearer they are to God, the more beautiful and better they are.
Is that what it still says? It does. I could have swore I changed that. Oops. That was last Friday. We were playing Discord's Putt Party on the taco thing. I did not see the. I mean, it was actually kind of fun. Chat seems delayed on screen. Well, this is a new chat thing. This is supposed to like have all of YouTube and like TikTok, or it's supposed to be like, there we go. So it's supposed to be YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, and it's supposed to have everything. But I was just on the Facebook and I dropped the comment and it didn't pop in. Say close window. Okay, so I'm not seeing Facebook comments. If you want to drop into the YouTube, I can put the link in there and see if YouTube's working. If the multi chat isn't going to work, then I don't see a point continuing. Because one of the things that I ended up dealing with is, well, my phone's almost dead. And by the way, never played tennis with a cymbal. I have it set and I am working on doing the final edits. I've got everything pretty much done to answer Sonic's question, when's the next animated Christianity? I've got it set. I've got pretty much the rough edit done. Now it's questioning whether I have to go in and do fine editing to get past the copyright. And of course, my little wind thingy is becoming a fuzzy wind thingy. For some odd reason, this is not picking up the others. Yep. Okay, so yeah, YouTube's coming through. YouTube seems to be coming fine. It's just the other one that doesn't seem to be working. Yeah, I'm not catching it's not pulling chat from Facebook. Jada over on YouTube says, test, type here, for you done. And then, yep. So yeah, I can see YouTube fine. It's just the other one, which is weird and like it's, I don't know. What's up, Mama Dreams? So it does not seem like Facebook is working. Been in bed your whole day? Oof. Let's see. I went to bed at about noon. Woke up like 4:30, so I've got like 4.5 hours sleep. No school? Nice. It's always fun to have no school. Did I tell him? I haven't gotten to that point yet. So, good news, praise report. I had an interview yesterday. Actually, I had 2 interviews yesterday. And I was offered not one, but both jobs. I'm not taking both jobs. The job that I decided that I am going to go to is probably, I think, the better opportunity of the 2. As will be a day shift position. So, the streaming all night is, it's not going to be possible. There may be, we may be doing like a subathon, streamathon thingy, supportathon, because we got new stickers. Look at these things. Aren't those beautiful? It's Judah. So Judah has his own sticker, and it says, "Just lying around." So your school was flooding. Oh, wow. That's insane. I've seen it happen, though. I have seen it happen. So now I've got to figure out something. Control F and okay, supports automated 2-way chat messaging with Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Zoom, and dozens of others. With a featured chat overlay with messages selectable via dockable dashboard. Supports bot commands, automated chat responses, LLMs, so large language models, including API, text to speech support, multi-channel sourcing icon, no user login API. See, it says it's supposed to work, but when I go over here and I post, like I've posted a couple of times, and it's not picking it up. I don't know why. It's actual personal Facebook. The Dawn of Dreams Media account does not have the ability to go live because it doesn't have enough followers. It's like pin a rose on your nose. If I try to refresh it, it doesn't do anything. Minecraft Ken, can I show you something posted on Reddit? I don't like the idea of just random links. You definitely can, like, you know, we have a Discord that you can share in the Discord, but I don't like the idea of just random links dropping in, especially from first time chat, because I don't know where those links are going to go. I don't know what I'm going to see. If you understand, I'm hoping that you do. But I would say if you want to share something, one of the best ways to do it would be share it in the Discord, which is !Discord. You can drop in the Discord. If you jump in the Discord, make sure that you go into the rules channel, read the rules, and then at the bottom there's a little green check mark. Click that, and that'll actually open up the rest of the Discord. Depending on what it is, whether it's like faith related, whether it's gaming related, there are channels that you can post it. If it's just a meme, you know, we have a whole meme channel. In fact, sometimes I think the meme channel is the most active on the Discord. But welcome in Minecraft Ken. I actually do like the name. Do you play a lot of Minecraft? Because the game that I'm actually planning on playing is kind of like Minecraft. Now I'm frustrated because the multi-chat, which we were supposed to be testing, is not working. So it's like, why? Because the whole point is for me to actually be able to check chat, to see chat, but I can't see chat. So it's like, yeah, I might as well just go back to my original little bubble thingy. If I'm going to do all that, and of course that cleared chat. Yo, thank you for that follow. I do appreciate that. Okay, yeah, so it is in there. But now it's like, it's small. There we go. That's much better. Much better. Shared. Okay, just showed is also just joined the Discord server. Nice. Let me pull up Discord because I don't have Discord pulled up. And this thing is not working, so yeah, we will have to test and figure out what is going on with that. I'll have to do some more research. I really want it to work. For now, it's kind of like, unfortunately, if anybody is watching over on Facebook, come over to Twitch. It's where the fun is. Yep. Okay, from the vintage story. Okay, from the vintage story community on Reddit. When you get hit. All right. Yeah, we're going to check this. And you sound like an instrument. Yeah, right? If I have to pick one thing that I would have to say is kind of annoying about Vintage Story, it would be that. Whoa. Yeah, what is... That's what that is. It's so quacking cold. Hey, I said I'm testing stuff. I'm sorry. All right, let's watch this.
No, yes.
Right. Right. Never played Vintage Story, but I'm watching videos about it, and I love how when you get hit or when you die from fall damage, you sound like an instrument. It sounds like a very out of tune instrument. So it seems that you might be a fan of Vintage Story. You might be just kind of getting into it. How long have you actually watched it? Have you seen videos on it? Like, how's that been going, Minecraft Ken? And don't be what way? What way am I being? Yeah, nobody's watching over on YouTube anyway. It's like, oh, hey, this dude's going live. It's just boring. So I'm going to end that. We are on live on YouTube, so we're going to keep that going. Because I can actually see YouTube chat. Look at the comment section. Oh, oops. Treasured and Love, welcome in. How you doing? How are you funnier than literally all of us who have played this game? How did we not think of this vine when playing? Now I need a mod that adds instruments that sound like human voices. You should get string instruments for more sounds. I want to sound like a snare drum. Play Vintage Story and you'll actually get to choose that instrument. Sound like a flute, sound like a Charlie Brown teacher, your choice. Yeah. To be honest, kill for a voice pack that allows you to upload your own voice so you can feel the suffering. It would be honestly hilarious. This is a bunch of different recordings of yourself, just cycles through, chooses at random. Definitely love to have a guy scream, yeah, oh crap, as a piece of dirt caved and smashed my head open. Yeah. Thank you for the lurk, Miss Duck Jada. Treasure said, I want to ask a question that I was highly debatable kind of subject and such, but I don't want to do any of that. I just want to ask a question and get your answer. Leave it at that. Absolutely. I might have an, so the answer is, hey, I got a question. I might have an answer. Let's see if they match. So yeah, definitely. Um, I can't guarantee that I might not say something that might be kind of controversial. But you can definitely ask. Every stream is an AMA. Like every stream is an AMA. And sometimes I don't mind dropping into those deeper subjects. Gotta quick head out off and do some lurking modding for Warrior of Light. Oh, nice. So Warrior of Light's got Jada as a mod. I could use a few more mods in all honesty. Did I restart? Are you excited about the new job? Yes, I'm excited and nervous, both at the same time. It's fine if you add your opinion. I just won't reply. So where in the Bible does it specifically talk about a female sleeping with females wrong? Romans 1:21 or Romans chapter 1. I know that one specifically. So starting with verse 18, the wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godless and wickedness of people who suppress their truth by their wickedness, since what may be known about God is plain to them, because God made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. For although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor give thanks to him, but their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images made to look like mortal human beings and birds and animals and reptiles. Therefore, God gave them over to their sinful desires, or the sinful desires of their heart, to sexual impurity, for the degrading of their bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth about God for a lie, and worshipped and served created things rather than the Creator, who is forever praised. Amen. Because of this, God gave them over to shameful lusts. Even their women exchanged natural sexual relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, men also abandoned natural relations with women and were inflamed with lust for one another. Men committed shameful acts with other men and received in themselves due penalty for their error. Furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, so God gave them over to a depraved mind, so that they do what ought not to be done. And since you said something about opinion, I won't include my opinion. I will just let the scripture speak for itself. Romans 1. It's the big thing about God's wrath against sinful humanity. My thing there is like a lot of conservative Christians tend to focus on, just that side. Yeah, Romans is a good one. Romans is a good one. But I will say that a lot of conservative Christians tend to focus on just that side of things. But the truth of the matter is, it is not just, the whole, let's say, LGBTQIA area. I normally say alphabet super grade, but I won't do that. But it's not just that whole side of things. It actually speaks to even heterosexuals too, because if a man and a woman are in a relationship, but that relationship is not in marriage, and they are practicing an intimate relationship outside of marriage, that is right along with it. And that really pushes buttons, because people don't want to hear, like, people do not want to hear they're wrong. But the truth of the matter is, if we are not doing it in marriage, if we are not doing it in the sanctity of marriage, period, then it is wrong. Now, that's not saying that, oh, well, eternal damnation and hellfire and brimstone, because all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Every single one of us. I am not any more righteous than the other person. It's just, this is what's telling us we need to work on. And what is the context of Romans chapter 1? So the context of Romans in its entirety is Paul was writing a letter to the church in Rome, to the people that had called themselves Christians in Rome. And Rome was, I mean, it was the biggest city. Yeah, it was the biggest city in that area. It was the biggest city of the time. The Roman Empire was huge, and there was a lot of things going on. There was a lot of different ideas, a lot of different concepts. You know, people were, they were hearing Christ and they were claiming Christ. But at this time, there was no concentrated Bible. There was no, what's the word I'm looking for? There was no defined scripture. It was just a collection of letters. And there were so many different sects of Christianity and so many different teachings that it was kind of insane. So Paul wanted to speak to the people who were living in pagan Rome, that were dealing with, kind of like now, actually. And that's what happens when we don't have people that are actually in scripture. That's what happens when we have people that are just trying to gravitate toward, some magnetic personality, or, that are defining their Christianity with TikTok devotionals. There is a reason why Paul said to Timothy to study, to be diligent. It is so easy to fall to false prophets, to fall to false teachers, if we're not rooted in the truth. And I think that's what Paul was trying to do, is he was trying to, with this letter, he was trying to write a letter to the people who were in Rome, who had all of these different contrasting views. And he's like, hey, this is what it boils down to. And I would say Romans chapter 3 is probably one of the best presentations of the gospel. Now understand, as I said, Romans, it's the entire book of Romans. So a lot of people do this all the time. I see it where they'll grab something, just a little verse here, and they'll build an entire idea out of it. But you have to understand that this was a full letter. Just curious, why did you think it didn't specify women with women when it did specify men? Well, it does specify women with women. It just didn't say in those exact words. Specifically, gave them over to sinful desires. Okay, sinful desires of their heart, to sexual impurity. So why did the wording change? I can't necessarily say that, but the very important part here, okay, as I said, it's not just specifically about men, women. This is addressing all sexual impurity. This is addressing all sexual impurity. but gave them over to sexual impurity for the degrading of their bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth for God for a lie and worshiped and served created things rather than the Creator. Because of this, God gave them over to shameful lusts. So shameful lusts. Even their women exchanged natural sexual relations for unnatural ones. So what would we consider natural sexual relations? Going with, the basic understanding of it. Natural sexual relations would be man and woman in the confines of marriage. For unnatural ones. So this is not just women and women. This would go with women and women. This would go, and warning, we're going very deep. This may not be a topic for little ears. So if there's any little ears, please cover them. So unnatural sexual relations would be anything outside the confines of marriage, anything outside the confines of the typical man. This would also confer anything like bestiality. So I understand that. Wasn't it social norms for high-ranking individuals Rome to take one young male, the higher the status? I believe you may be right. I know that in that there were definitely a men type thing. I mean, Nero was, there's a lot of stories about Nero. But I mean, it could technically, I mean, if we really want to dive into it, we could use this to shame everybody. So it's all about lust and not love. Well, I cannot necessarily say anything on that topic. My personal opinion is that what we understand about love and how we define love, especially in modern day, we don't understand the point. There is I personally think that when it comes to that, we get a friendship bond confused with a relationship bond. And if we are, as I said, this is my personal opinion, and you said something about personal opinion being not a thing, but I think that we tend to get it confused. I respect your thoughts on okay. So understand that I come about this as somebody who at one point in time, I do believe that I dealt with some gender identity disorder. I know that there was a period in my teens where I went and, let's just say I can completely understand where people are coming from on this. And this is me kind of deconstructing those thoughts and me trying to rebuild them and me trying to put them in understanding of scripture. So this is not a condemnation nature, or this is not from a condemnation standpoint. This is from, I'm trying to understand it myself, and I'm trying to look at a way to be able to speak to people who are dealing with this. So understand that. Um, in our current society, we want to feel loved. We want to feel cared for. We want to be in a relationship that we feel appreciated with. Now, there are times where a guy will feel closer to a guy. I'm pretty sure there are times that a girl will feel closer to a girl. But in as much as going on social media, as much as people are talking about this and much as people are talking about that, we tend to understand that the Greeks had multiple words for love. There is agape, there is phileo, there is familial, or familia, I think is the word. So there were multiple different types of a care and understanding and appreciation for one another. When it is translated into the English, because there were multiple different words, those multiple different words lose their meaning. So I can end up getting that phileo love, which is brotherly love, or a friendship love, if the wires in my head are miscrossed, or if I'm dealing with some kind of trauma, or if I'm dealing with some kind of issue, I can begin, especially if there is some past things in there, I can begin to cross the wires and act in a intimate love toward a person who is not supposed to be my lover, but is supposed to be my best friend. And going into scientific aspects, there is a chemical that is released in times of intimacy called oxytocin. It is released most strongly in two aspects. That is during actual intimate relations, and the strongest when a woman gives birth to a child. So if I am getting my wires crossed and I am trying to take my best friend and make them my lover, then all of a sudden I am building a relationship, and that chemical, that hormone, is strengthening that. But I am building it on the wrong standing. Because it is very, very, very possible that God may have somebody planned for me that is going to be the perfect partner. That is going to be, of the opposite sex, and is going to be somebody that complements me perfectly. But I am not trusting God. Going back to Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6, trusting God with all your heart, mind, body, and soul, lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. I am not trusting God. Instead, I am acting on my own instincts, and that ends up causing things to fall astray. Now, that's not speaking against anybody that is doing a same sex. It's anybody that is trying to move in a relationship faster than what it should be. For instance, if somebody jumps into a relationship and they deal in fornication, which is sex outside of marriage, then it's the exact same thing. And what I've seen from personal experience, and I'm going to get to that in a second, what I've seen from personal experience is when you do things outside of God's plan, when you do things on your own, then it ends up causing problems for the ones involved. For instance, my kids. almost every single one of them was conceived outside of marriage, and nearly every single one of them were born outside of marriage. And because of that, there is things, and I'm guilty of it. I'm not going to say I'm not, but there are things that they're dealing with. There's baggage that they're dealing with just because I made the wrong choices. And that's one of the reasons why I think that Paul said all other sin exists outside of the body. But sexual sin is a sin against one's own body. So Paul was putting a distinction there. Sexual sin is not just on you. It becomes a problem for the children that either A, would have been born or are born in broken relationships, into the children that are born into wedlock, the children that are born into relationships that are not fully committed to God, if that makes sense. And I know that that's a huge, huge, huge explanation, but that's the best way I can put it. It really is. And chat has now heard 34 trains this month. There's another one coming, that long black train. It keeps rolling. Here's the truth. We've all messed up. Every single one of us. None of us measure up to God's standard of goodness. But there's hope because Jesus stepped in. With his blood, he bought us back from the hell that we all deserve. There is a better way. One that leads to real life. And it is Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life. You are not bound to continue walking towards that long black train. And I'm going to stop there. I hope that if you're still here, Treasured, if I didn't end up running you off, I hope that kind of explains like why I think about the things. Thank you very much. You're welcome. And I hope that helps. I really do. I know it can be confusing, but Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. I do not want to consider myself an authority on the matter. I don't want anybody to try to consider myself an authority on the matter. I will never say because I said so. I enjoy peaceful perspectives and not hostile Christians. Oh yeah. Yeah. I completely understand. I completely understand. A lot of people can get very passionate, and I can get passionate too. Like somebody wants to come in and start, talking about Muhammad. Oh, it's gonna go down. But I'm trying to work on getting too passionate. And I want to be able to have those. I did notice you in chat. I read when you said train, Mick. How you doing, man? It's been a minute. How's Mick? Hello, chat. Hi, Donnie. Doing well. Good to hear it, man. Good to hear it. So here's something. Got two things, and this is big. So not next week. Next week, if possible, I might be streaming a little bit more. Just recently inquired Outer Wilds and the expansion. Nice. I I haven't played Outer Wilds. I've played Outer Worlds, and every single time that I hear about Outer Wilds, I think Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds is an interesting game. But so really quick, here's two things. Next week, hopefully I'll be able to stream a little bit more. Need to say hi to someone else before bed. Thanks again. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Well, thanks for coming in, Treasure Love. I hope you have a wonderful night. Hope you have a wonderful rest, and God bless you, my friend. What I was going to say is, big thing here is I'm hoping that next week I might be able to stream a little bit more, because I'm kind of taking the week off. But I start a new job, and I'm really excited about this one. I'm hoping it's a great opportunity. I start on the 11th, so it is not going to be night shift. So we're not going to be doing an all-night stream. Well, I might start fading out from the all-night stream starting next week. So I'm really excited. This is awesome. It's hot in here. Welcome to the gun show, people. It's hot. But yeah, I'm really excited about this new job. Don't spoil yourself if you play it. It's best to go in blind. But you haven't seen the, yeah, Samus was playing it, and I kind of stopped in a little bit. I did not pay attention to much gameplay because that's what she said. How's the internet these days? It's okay. It does seem to be looking good. Says I've dropped 474